Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today is April the 12th, 2026. I'm just going to call him Jimmy. And the reason why I'm going to make this video, it is an educational video. And if you stay on this video, just like what I titled my video, Tonya, this man's wife, and her mother and father will be still alive if they search for videos like mine. You see, people, I came back to tell you because the world hate godly videos. They don't like real sound doctrine, genuine, authentic videos that will break down the Bible and not entertain you. I want to tell you people this. I take my hat off to Jimmy. And before I start my video, I am not condoning anyone to commit murder or violence. This video is going to be using Jimmy for an educational purpose. But before I start the video and give you a little information that you can go look up this video and watch it till the end. Jimmy is not a coward. Why did I tell you that? You see, Jimmy had a problem with Tonya's parents. And I'm going to give you a little history. The same thing that Jimmy experienced is what I experienced. But first, I want to make you people understand about this whole video. If you go watch it, it's about the code of respect. And not only the code of respect is that when you deviate from God, this video, I'm going to give you Bible proof that God is real. And it was written before our time. And this is the reason why when I said that I'm not going to waste my time talking to people that don't like viewing videos like mine, you're going to end up like Tonya and her parents, which this man that was married to her mother was her stepfather, and Jimmy behind bars. When I say I take my hat off to Jimmy, Jimmy stood his grounds for his code of disrespect. He stated that he has a code. He's an ex-veteran. And in that code, he would do the best he can to tell you, don't bother him. He don't want to have nothing to do with you. Get out my house. Hey, guy, I'm sorry. Hey, girl, I'm sorry. But if you disrespect him and reject him 3 times, he's going to handle his business. And he said, normally, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm pretty much going to do it. And he even requested the detective that he knows he's going to jail, and it would be best interest that you do not put me in a room with anybody. Now, here's a guy, the reason why I say I take my hat off to him. Before I give you the story, I want to make you people understand, after he did what he did, this guy was not a coward. He did not get a AR-15 because he's an ex-military guy and he's dealing with PTSD or whatever the case may be, and say that he has a mental health issues and went out here and deleted innocent people. He did not go get an AR-15 and do a drive-by and hit innocent babies. He did not go and just take lives. Here's what he did, okay? And when the detective was talking to him in the interrogation room, he said, look, buddy, let's just get on with it. Jimmy said, let's just get it on with it. I know I'm not going home. I did what I did, and let's just go on with the process. He was tired of sitting in that room. He wasn't in there, and the detective said, Jimmy, do you know what you're being charged for? Yes, sir. He didn't lose his balls. He knows he's going to prison. He said he tried to call his sister, but she didn't answer the phone. The phone went to the voicemail. I looked at the whole story. And I said, listen to Jimmy. But you got these gang members. They got groups to where they go like a sniper, or they do drive-bys. And then when they go to court and they get caught, they lose their balls, their manhood. Jimmy said, hey, I talked to my wife and told my wife I didn't want to have nothing to do with her family. Didn't want to have nothing to do with her parents. And for them to come to my house, and I'm going to give you people a breakdown what Jimmy was saying, and try to give you a short version before you go look at the video. Jimmy said he was married to Tonya for about 5 years. And they stayed in this residence for about 2 years, and Jimmy was taking care of his father that had Alzheimer's. And so this place that they stayed in, Jimmy was the owner and the provider of the mortgage payment. So, but Tonya worked at a hospital called Cox, meaning that I think she was a nurse. So I want to show you the reprobate, what women do when they think they're the breadwinner. And then I'm going to show you why it is most importantly that you give your life to Christ. That's what this video is about showing you that since you don't like the anointed one, and you don't like videos that is like my videos that's trying to make you give your life to Christ, you won't read the Bible, and you're going to end up like Jimmy, Tonya, and her parents. All right. Jimmy said that he lived in Missouri, and Tonya's parents lived in Louisiana, and she had back surgery. So he said that her parents was elderly, but before she had back surgery, they did not get along, him and her parents. So he told his wife, don't try to make me like your parents. I don't want to have nothing to do with your parents, and I don't want them in my space. I don't want to have nothing to do with their parents. That's why you see the video that says a veteran slaughters 3 family members for overstaying their welcome. Here's the code. But I'll make you people understand something. What Jimmy was saying. If the parents don't like who their daughter is married to, I don't care if she is. This is what people don't think about. When parents don't want to have nothing to do with the spouse, down the line when the spouse may get sick, you're going to want to go to that residence and see that spouse. It's just like they don't think about in a funeral session, that if you just want to go put your loved one away and then here come the family, you're trying to grieve over your wife or husband, and the family comes over there to the wake and, you know, rolling their eyes at you and hadn't talked to you for 20 years. Just don't go to the funeral. Because Jimmy, it could be like Jimmy or let's just say a Tonya at the funeral home trying to bury her husband, and then here come the people, and Tonya can have a gun in her pocket and say, if any of these here idiots roll their eyes at me, I know their son is in the casket, but they gonna get deleted. But this is what people do, the boldness, that if you know that your brother, your sister, I'm talking to parents, if you know that your daughter's married to a person that you don't like, then why, when they get sick, you go over there to Jimmy's house? This is what Jimmy was saying. He let them come over there, and he said they were so elderly where they were just over there for moral support, that they couldn't even take Tonya to the restroom. He said he was feeding Tonya. He'd put her in the bed, take her out the bed, help her to the restroom, and they were just over there for moral support. He said they wasn't really doing nothing. So he told them they had been staying there too long, meaning that they came from Louisiana and they were staying they drove a Winnebago with a car. They was pulling a car from behind. So they parked their Winnebago at a RV park, and they drove their little car to go see Tonya in the home that she was living with Jimmy. Her and Jimmy was married. Okay, so Jimmy said he told his wife, I didn't had enough of this it. And he told her parents, it's time for y'all to go. He said that they would come in the house, and he would be in the house, and they wouldn't speak to him, wouldn't say nothing to him, and all they would do was tend to their daughter. He said that is disrespectful. I agree with him 100%. Listen, people, Let me make you people understand something. I'm going to give you a little rundown about me. When I was dating this young lady, and I met her when she had a 12-year-old son, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment together, and we moved into a home and we was renting. And we moved into the home because she was making it seem like that the apartment was too small, and I was always talking about how nasty they were. Her son would forget to flush the toilet after taking a number 2, and she didn't like to bathe, and she didn't like to wash clothes. So because of the situation I was in, I want to make you people understand something. Just like Jimmy said that he used to be an ex-carpenter, but he had blew out his back, he blew out a knee, and he has arthritis, but he's a veteran. So he said that she was working. So you see how she's the breadwinner? That was the same situation I was in with a young lady being the breadwinner, because I was paying 2 child supports in bankruptcy when I met her. Long story short, when we moved into this house together, I had stayed on her and her son, and I did not want to have sex with her because I found out she didn't like to bathe. So her mother lived in Louisiana and used to come and visit us. And it was a time when I was off of work. I was working for the job that I retired off of, but I was in my early stages. Her mother came in town, which she made me aware, and she was living with us in a spare bedroom. So as my girlfriend went to work, her son was at school, and it was just me and my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend mother was in the house. So I noticed when I went in the kitchen, she was sitting at my dinette table, and I noticed that she was rolling her eyes at me. So I went to the master bedroom to call my ex and say, "Hey, I noticed that your mom is sitting at our table. She looked like she has a problem with me." "I don't know. You just over exaggerating. My mama don't have a problem with you." And I'm like, "No, your mother's sitting at the table rolling her eyes at me. Look, if you don't like me, if your daughter has told you anything about me, this is how people get deleted." So I gets off the phone and I goes and I approach the mother. "Hey, Miss So-and-so, do you have a problem with me?" And she was reading the newspaper. So she put the newspaper down. She said, "You got, you know what, right?" And I said, "What?" "Well, my daughter and my grandson don't need to be calling nasty MFs and calling her out her name and calling my grandson out his name." I said, "Oh, so you do have a problem with me." I said, "Well, if you're trying to correct me, then you ought to correct your daughter and teach her how to clean her vagina." And the mama got upset. So, "Are you trying to tell me that my daughter got a problem, a hygiene problem?" I said, you got it right. I wasn't where I was today, people, where I am today. Okay? So we was exchanging words. So I goes, and before I can get the call with the ex and tell her that we just exchanged words, she already called, the mother already called the daughter. So the daughter said she's coming home. So it was a dispute. When the daughter came in the house, she said, "Why would you tell my mama?" And so I said, "Because you told your mother that I'm over here cussing y'all out behind my back. So I let your mama know why I'm cussing y'all out." So the mama told her, she said, "Girl, you crazy. I wouldn't be married to or dating a ninja like this here. I'm finna go out here in my car and get my gun." I said, "Well, you go ahead and get your gun. I got a gun." So you see how things can get out of hand? And I told her, "You get your mama out this house." She said, "My mama ain't going nowhere." She said, "No, baby, I'm leaving because I don't know why you with this person." But the young lady today, she moved out when I went to work. Okay? Time goes by. She's no longer with us, people. All right. Another video. But look what Jimmy did. Jimmy said he spoke to his wife. And he told his wife, "Your parents has to go." And he said he had been talking like 3 or 4 days to his wife, and he told the parents. And they said every time he talked to them, they would look at Tonya, his wife. So he said this very day, he had left to go eat lunch with a buddy. He came back, and they was in his house. And he said he was fed up because he told him 3 times. So he looked at his wife, Tonya. "Tonya, tell your parents that they've been here too long, and I'm not going to take this it no more with them in my house, sitting in my chairs, disrespecting me." And she stood up and said, "My parents ain't going nowhere." Jimmy proceeded and walked out to his pickup truck and came back inside with a 9mm handgun and deleted the stepfather first, deleted the mama next, and deleted his wife. And he said they were gurgling on the floor, and he went and shot them, each one in their head 2 times. Here's the kicker. Jimmy was in the interrogating room, as you can see, for 1 hour and 14 seconds. Okay? Now watch this. Jimmy told him verbatim by verbatim exactly what he did. He wasn't trying to make up no story. He wasn't trying to get no flaws. He wasn't trying to give him no tricks. He told him, it is disrespectful for Tonya's parents to be in my home where I pay the mortgage and they don't have no respect for me. So he said he told Tonya, if anything happened, as far as them facing the consequences, it's going to be on you. So Jimmy stood his ground and he said, I know I'm going to jail. No, I'm not going home. Let's just get it on. But I'm letting you people know, you better tell your officials, don't put me in the room with nobody. Isn't that a man of integrity? You people say, how? If he didn't know God, follow me. He's telling the man, if you look at the video, and that's why it was interesting, because this man is not like these cowards. And you asked him, sir, you know you've murdered these people, so how do you plead? Not guilty. Let me show you people why you ought to give your life to Christ. And that's the reason why I want to make this video. You people in this entire world hate God, deviate from God. You don't want to read no Bible. You don't want nobody like me. And when you go to church, you're being entertained by a man that really know the Bible, because this is how you can be deceived. But he got you looking up to him. And you won't go home and search Bible and try to find out when God says, test every spirit and examine a man by his fruit. You go to these places that they call church, and these pastors are arrogant, high-minded, puffed up, and conceited. And because they know the Bible, you stay there, but you don't understand that they're not preaching with humility. Humility means that it's not about me. That means that I'm not making this video for you to subscribe to my channel. I'm making this video so you can subscribe to Jesus Christ, Almighty God, and you won't be a Jimmy, and you won't be a Tonya, and Tonya's parents. Let me show you the error so you can know that God is real. And when you don't want to watch videos like mine, you are going to experience death sooner than later. Now, if Tonya, I don't even want to talk about Jimmy, because Tonya's life was in danger, because Jimmy is letting you know who he really is. Okay? So if Tonya would have known who he really is, then Tonya would have been what? Searching God. See, you don't have to deviate from God just because your husband don't like Christ and because your wife don't like Christ. This is for your safety, so you can know exactly who you married to. Because back when I was dating this young lady, I was this close for doing the same thing Jimmy did. Because it's a code. Just because I have a lower income and because we are renting this house and you are the sole creditor on the lease does not mean you disrespect me. Why? I'm the head. And we have a thing about us, even if we don't know Christ. We are alpha males. This is an alpha male that don't know God. I mean, he letting you know, I paid a mortgage payment. Jimmy wasn't playing. Okay? And Jimmy said, I smoke a little weed sometime and I drink my whiskey, but I'm an ex-veteran. Okay, so who do you think Tonya was married to? Tonya was married to her parents and was using Jimmy for personal gain. Look at Jimmy. Look at Jimmy on that picture. Okay, and Jimmy ain't to be played with. Jimmy's letting you know, well, if you don't have respect for the head, then I'm gonna get rid of the problem. And he got rid of the problem. Right here in Genesis chapter 2, it says the creation of man and woman. So I'm going to read you people where it says in Genesis chapter 2, verse 23 through 24. Now listen, This is in the beginning in the Old Testament. So this is how you ought to know God is real. Now watch this. I'm just going to read the scriptures and I'm going to let you people go. This is why I'm trying to tell you people that I'm not going to waste my time to come on here and just be a minister on YouTube. But when I see things like this here, this is what I'm trying to tell you. That if you don't want to encourage me to come back on here, bye. You going out there and do what you do. And you go ahead and listen to these sugar talk channels and see what you're going to be like Jimmy and be like Tonya. Now watch this. It says, in Genesis chapter 2, verse 23, but I'm going to start at the top so you can kind of see. This is when God was creating a woman when he put Adam to sleep. And then it says in 23, Genesis chapter 2, 23, then Adam said, after God created a woman, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh, and she shall be called woman because she was taken out of a man. Excuse me, people, I got sinuses. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and his mother and shall be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And the man and his wife were, well, that's further down when they were found naked. So you see how God is telling you. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and his mother. And when he's talking about a man, he's also talking about a woman. Okay, now let me show you what she did for her parents. If her parents was godly, and Jimmy said, hey, Dad, Mom, I don't know their names. Y'all have been here too long. You know you don't like me. Bye. I got Tonya. Don't y'all worry about her. She's going to recover. Get out my house. Had they been reading, had they gave their life to Christ, had somebody gave them a good church, had a pastor warn them who's the head. Right here in Matthew 10, this is in the New Testament, that it says, Matthew 10, verse 37 through 38, it says, he who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. He's talking to Tonya. And he's talking to a lot of Tonyas. And he's talking to Jimmy. In all these scriptures, he's talking to Jimmy and he's talking to Tonya. But you say, don't come to me with this godly stuff. I don't like this channel, D no anointed one. Yeah, I don't care if YouTube block him. So even though if YouTube block me, you won't go search no other scriptures like no other channels like mine and find your Bible. He's warning you. I told you he's not a liar. But they said, no, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's who I follow. Listen what Jimmy and Tonya should have heard. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take his cross, expressing a willingness to endure whatever may come, and follow me, believing in me, conforming to my example in living, and if need be, suffering or perhaps dying because of faith in me, is not worthy of me. Right here, marriage is a union. That means that you become one flesh, and both supposed to love Christ over mother, over father, mother, brother, sister, anybody. So here's what it's showing you. That Tonya loved her parents more than God. Had she loved God and followed the command, even if Jimmy was a whiskey drinker, a weed smoker, and PTSD, she'd have said, Dad, Mom, Jimmy said it's time for y'all to go. I love y'all. Go to y'all's trailer, and as soon as I get well and I recover, I will visit y'all. See, my wife had her younger son living in my house. And I bought this house in 2006. And I met my wife in 2012. This is clearly my home. But in their minds, when they get married to you, they think that they have ownership because what the court system would do if they divorce you. But Jimmy said, no, it don't work that way. You have you forgotten where you came from? Jimmy said, this is my property. And yes, I am a veteran. So he probably was getting a small income, but he's paying the mortgage. And so this is what women do. I can live with Jimmy, and I can build my nest egg up. And Jimmy said when he left the house, after he told him, he came back, and Tonya's toothbrush was gone, and they had picked up their stuff. But then he went upstairs to go see his dad, because he was taking care of his dad, because his dad got Alzheimer's, and so they came back to the house. He thought they had got Tonya, and Tonya moved out. He said, no, I come downstairs, and they sit there at my damn dinner table, in my chairs. You see how Jimmy got peed off? He thought Tonya had left. See, so when this young lady that I was married to, the best thing for her to do, and her mom encouraged her, because she died on her own circumstances. She had lupus and other stuff was going on with her. But thank God I didn't delete her and her mom and son. You see, she moved out when I went to work. And just like I told my current wife about this other ex-wife, she moved out when I was at work. Because why? I was going to be like a Jimmy. You don't disrespect my residence. If you don't want me, then the simple thing is, don't use the court system on me. Just move. How simple is that, people? If you don't want a person, you're going to go try to take their possessions, especially women today. That they go out here and knowing that this man got his stuff together, or this man, this is his property, and you move in with him when you can go get your own house, and you can love your parents how you want to love your parents. You don't have to read no Bible. But this is the era that they hold. She want to use Jimmy. See? So she missed that scripture. Let's go to another scripture. Still in the New Testament. Matthew 19:5. It says, concerning divorce. Let's read 5. I'm going to go up here at 3. It says, it is lawful for a man to divorce. It is lawful for a man to divorce his wife for just any reason. He replied, have you never read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother, and shall be joined inseparable to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So there are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Did you hear the last part? Tonya, do you love your husband? Or do you love your parents? And that's what I was telling my ex. Do you love your mama? Because I don't understand why you didn't try to call your mama and go stay with your mama. This young lady had propositioned me to see, I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment. She said, I was thinking since we dating, can we get a 2-bedroom apartment? You see the dark plan they have in their head? So now you get with me, all of a sudden you get with me. You and the mama close. Why didn't you just move back in? Why didn't you tell your son, hey son, we're going to have to move to Louisiana with mom because I can't make it right now by myself. I'm going to have to change jobs. But now mom want to come to my house and act like she really care about her daughter. But her daughter, when I met her, she was about to lose her apartment. And this is what they do. They got a dark plan. Okay? See? So it's in Matthew chapter 19, verse 5. Let's go to Ephesians. Still in the New Testament. Now watch this. Marriage like Christ and the church. Ephesians 5, verse 22. Wives. Tonya. Wives. Ex-girlfriend. Oh, well, you ain't none of my husband. I don't have to listen to you. So that's what she probably thought. And you probably think, wait a minute, bro. You saying girlfriend. Let's talk about wives. Well, if we were working to get married, I asked her, hey, you want to get married? Nah, I don't want to get married. They want the benefits. Even outside of marriage and even with marriage. I'll take you to court. So it doesn't matter. But a man is supposed to be the head. But the reason why it didn't work, because God didn't ordain us to live outside his will. Okay? So, now today I'm married. And when my wife brought her son here, which we agreed on it, he was lazy. So you ain't going to live in my house where I'm paying the mortgage and you just kicking back and sleep all day long, do what you want to do, and your mama supporting it. That's when the code comes in. It's disrespectful. Go live on your own daddy. And here's what I'm saying. If your own daddy don't want you in his house and he's remarried, why are you going to stay in my house? Make sense, people? Okay, so the mama that I'm married to supposed to be reading these scriptures. So it said, wives, Tonya, Look at your husband, Tonya. See the family? They ought to see this. See? All right. He's an a military man. Something made my light go. When I put this black thing on, it made it dim my light. Sorry, people. What's going on here? Let's see. There we go. All right. He's talking to Tonya. The Bible is talking to Tonya. Do you know who you're married to? This dude is serious. He's letting you know, hey, I'm that guy. I have a code that if you disrespect me, I hope you people look at the video. I mean, Jimmy is a real Jimmy. Are you with me? That's why I take my hat off to this Jimmy. Jimmy ain't read the Bible. You can tell he ain't read the Bible, but he meant business. He said that he went out to his pickup truck and he said, you know what? I'm going to get rid of this problem. I'm over here paying this mortgage payment. All Tonya had to do is say, Mom, Dad, y'all leave. I'm going to leave Jimmy and get my own place, and then we'll see each other. No, they stood their grounds, and Jimmy stood his grounds. You see, somebody got to give. See, so, but if you don't know Bible, when you got two heads in the house, it creates a monster. She stood her grounds, trying to be the head. Jimmy said, Tonya, I done told your parents that they need to get on out of here. She said, my parents ain't going nowhere. So what did Jimmy say? Well, all three of y'all going somewhere. And I know I'm going to jail. Wives, be subject to your own husband as a service to the Lord. For the husband is head of the wife, as Christ is head of the church, himself being the Savior of the body. But as the church is subject to Christ, so also wives should be subject to their husbands in everything. In everything. Tonya, I told you to tell your parents to leave. Oh, okay, honey. The interrogating guy said, have you and Tonya ever been physically abusive before this took place? He said, no. Have you? He said, I know people argue in marriages. Have you and Tonya have argued about this type of stuff? Have y'all gotten into some frequent arguments? He said, no. Tonya know how I roll, and I know how Tonya roll. And that's how it was. Okay? But they both didn't know Christ. So guess what? The wife should have subjected to her husband in everything, respecting both their position as protector and their responsibility to God as head of the house. You hate Bible. You hate channels like this here. And you probably married to a man that you're disrespecting. And this is why you see on this channel, which is called Law and Crime, where you see a husband deleting his wife, and some of them try to go hide the body, dump them in a creek, because this is what's happening all over the world. And I'm going to let you people go. Why are women so aggressive today and they think they run the house? I'm going to pause and I want you people to get it. Why are women mostly the head in the house to where they make the rules, where you have a bunch of men that's not like Jimmy? Yes, honey. I see some guys on some videos with their wives on there and call her boss lady. Boss lady. Okay? But what's going on in the world today is what I see, why women are ruling, why women are getting deleted, why women have attitudes and conceited. And if you notice beautiful women that dress half naked, they know they got nice bodies, they got attitudes. I mean, the Bible says it. It's in there when they talk about the women of Zion, said they are stiff-necked, haughty women, meaning that they walk around conceited, arrogant, high-minded, because they know that all, not Jimmy, no, but 99.99% men are not like Jimmy. No, Jimmy's like me, and Jimmy don't know God. Every time that wife or girlfriend say, what did you say? You want my parents to what? And all they got to do is stare at the man. And first thing come to his mind is, okay, babe. Because she know. You know what's going to happen in that bedroom when they leave. I'm not going to gap them legs from east to west. They dictate the bedroom. They dictate the finances. Honey, you know this person's getting old. You better put in some overtime, or I'll be replacing you. Yes, honey. You got a lot of weak men out here, people. And Jimmy, look what color he is. This white boy ain't playing. And listen, I met some white guys on my job, and I'm going to let you people go. I used to be the driver of my big air machine truck that I would drive. And it would be a white boy sitting in the passenger seat as my helper. You know how you're driving down the road and you're just trying to go through the traffic to get to your next destination to a job? I heard some white boys while I'm driving will call their wives. Hey, what's going on, honey? Yeah. Well, hey, honey, this. Shut up and don't overtalk me. I said, ooh. B, you don't overtalk me when I'm talking. I'm trying to explain something to you. I said, this is a white boy. So I get off the phone. He'll get off the phone. And I say, hey, David, was that your wife you was talking to? You goddamn right, that was my wife. Look, people, I'm not saying God. I'm saying G-O-T. Got. All right. It may not sound like it's a sentence, but that's something that we say. All right. He said, my wife don't talk over me when I'm talking. She know better than that it. I said, dang, man, you tell. He talked his wife like she was his daughter. Like nothing to him. And I've heard it several times. And let me make you people understand what I've heard some black men in my truck do. The wife will call them, hello, and be playing with them on the phone. And yes, baby. All right, baby. Yes, baby. You can go. Yeah. Going over to the dealers. Yeah. Macy's. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Go ahead and charge it, baby. Don't worry about it. You know, I got some overtime. Don't worry about it, honey. Yes, baby. That's what I've seen. Because why? The nature to me of being a black man, the reason why a lot of black men bow down, and I want to make you understand why I take my hat off to Jimmy. I'm that guy. I don't care if I am having a hard time, if I lost my job, if my income is low, if I'm carless, if I'm homeless. I'm that guy. That I'm not going to let no woman dictate and tell me what to do. It's just in my nature. But what most men do is because they insecure, and I've seen it predominantly in African American men and Hispanic men, because we are the ones that live in poverty, and we're the ones that are less fortunate. You bow down to a woman. And then when you bow down to her, she still dump you and go get a man better than you. So this is my thing. I got a code like Jimmy. Jimmy said, if you disrespect me 3 times, I'm going to delete you. But this is me, my code. I don't care what my circumstances are. Whether I'm up or I'm down, I'm never going to have a woman lead me, because God made me the head, not the tail.